This morning, the power of scenery, Frederick Law Olmsted, and the origin of national parks. This book takes a new look at one of America's defining features, what has famously been called America's best idea. The backstory of how national parks came to be is often misunderstood. Long associated with Teddy Roosevelt, the birth of our park system took place long before our 26th president came to office. And while the West has the most epic landscapes, the root of the idea started east, right here in New York, with both mistake and triumph.
They are the parts of our land that indulge primal instincts to explore, leave us in awe, and always keep us coming back for more. No one does national parks better than America. Though when this nation was founded, the idea wasn't on anyone's radar.
There was an early movement to try to have Americans catch up with Europe with cathedrals and castles and that sort of thing.
You can't do it.
We couldn't do it. But we did have these wonderful natural parks in their extravagance and their beauty. And when we saw that, we realized that could be our batch of works of art, a new kind of art, almost like found art.
Dennis Drabelle is the author of The Power of Scenery, Frederick Law Olmsted, and the Origin of National Parks.
For a long time, the only public park space, it was cemeteries.
Well, and it shows you how burning the need was for outdoor spaces like that.
Born in 1822 in Connecticut, Frederick Law Olmsted pursued an early career in journalism. It was his travels to England in 1850 that would reveal his true calling. Astonished by the public gardens at Birkenhead Park near Liverpool, a newly built sanctuary, amid the bustle of urban life, he returned home with passion and purpose to bring parks just as grand and accessible to America. His first one was monumental. At just 36, Olmsted was placed in charge of designing New York's Central Park. He also, in collaboration with Calvert Vaux, did Prospect Park in Brooklyn. Both were spectacular successes. Olmsted burned for more.
Olmsted was quite a guy. I mean, he would drive himself to work to the point of nervous breakdown.
Yes.
Frequently.
Yes.
Why was he so obsessed?
I don't know. I think it was partly because he knew he had a gift that no one else really had.
But he didn't sleep much?
There's a great line from George Templeton Strong's diary about Olmsted driving himself like crazy and then breakfasting on coffee and pickles.
Breakfast of champions.
Olmsted continued designing and building, including perhaps his most ambitious project in Buffalo.
Who comes here?
Everyone comes here. That's how he designed them. They were democratic spaces, places for everyone. And
Stephanie Crockett is the director of the Buffalo Olmsted Parks Conservancy.
You call them works of art.
yes, these parks are works of art,
Why works of art?
because that's what Olmsted called them.
The size of the space here was the same as Central Park, but the concept was different. This time it would be 24 pieces of greenery, including parks and parkways. Buffalo became the first interconnected urban park system in the country.
When you think Olmsted, you think Central Park.
Everyone
People
does, yes.
don't necessarily think here.
No, they think, because that was such a great park, 847 acres of park, right? And it was his first, and it was significant. He changed New York. But when he came to Buffalo, he took 850 acres here and turned it into an entire collection.
As his work continued, Olmsted was guided heavily by lessons learned from the problems that had developed at another national treasure in New York, Niagara Falls.
What did Niagara Falls teach Olmsted and others?
It taught them that you can't just leave the fate of a great natural resource to chance or to the chaotic workings of a marketplace.
By the mid-1800s, Niagara Falls was overrun with shady business people looking to take advantage of tourists and spoil the experience. Olmsted and others lobbied state and local governments to act.
What did it take to clean up Niagara Falls?
Money. It took this, and a state that was willing to do it, and a province as well.
The province of Ontario, Canada, which shares a border with the U.S. at the Falls, and New York State took over lots on both sides to cut back on capital excess. While the area is still far from perfect, it was brought back from the abyss.
No self-respecting honeymooners in 1900 went anywhere but to Niagara Falls.
Olmsted turned his belief that government protection was key and overdevelopment could be disastrous into what would become the charter for another jewel of the American landscape, Yosemite in California.
Part of Olmsted's genius was the ability to recognize what places needed to be shaped and changed and which ones just needed to be left alone.
That's right.
How did he determine which was which?
I just think he had an incredible feel for landscapes.
The Yosemite Charter became the model for democratizing America's natural beauty and led directly to Yellowstone, becoming the first official national park in the world in 1872. Today, there are 417 park sites across the United States, covering more than 84 million acres.
For national parks in America to have continued success in the next generation and beyond, what needs to happen?
I think there have to be more, and I think they have to be in or near cities. I think people will that way not only get more of what Olmsted wanted, the kind of urban/wilderness experience all rolled up in one, but they will learn kind of a land ethic which might spread.
Frederick Law Olmsted died in 1903. Next spring, America will mark not only the 150th anniversary of Yellowstone, but the bicentennial of Olmsted's birth. Stephanie Crockett and many others are more than ready to celebrate.
With Olmsted's 200th birthday coming up, how should people remember him?
People should be getting outside and enjoying nature and taking a look around, because he did this with vision. He did it with purpose.
He did it for us.
He did it for us 150 years later. You know, that's pretty amazing to have that kind of vision.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks. Happy 200th, Fred.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Buddy.
We appreciate you.
Yeah.
One of the reasons we did it right now in fall going into winter here is because, when designers first envisioned national parks, they talked about 150 million Americans being in the U.S. There are nearly 330 million. We've talked about all the overcrowding issues that can crop up at national parks. One of the reasons why it's a good idea to sometimes to go in the off season, right around now, when it's not crowded, when you can be cold, but have a little
Wear
more
a jacket.
space.
It's okay.
Yeah.